I want to share some of my favorite tricks, shortcuts and tips that are going to help you in your day-to-day Excel work. Let's start with freezing panes. Now, I find a lot of people who scroll down the dataset and you can never see the header. So an easy way just to lock your panes for the beginning is Alt W F and R, which will freeze your top row. So once you scroll, it's very easy for you to keep your headers and scroll down your dataset. Another quick hack is if we want to change a format and copy that across. For example, in this cell, we want to highlight Philippines in yellow. Now, as we go along, we want to highlight some of the other data with yellow. Instead of going back up here, we just press F4 and that will allow us to repeat the last action. So let's try that again. If we go here and change this to red, we can simply go down and go to F4 and repeat the last action. Let's have a look how we can filter easily. Now this data here is not in a table format, but perhaps we're going through some of the data, and let's go to bakery and we just want to filter the data from that. Click onto the cell, right click, and we go to simply filter. We filter by the cell's selected value. So click on that and you can see that the filter has automatically just taken all the items of bakery. To add a hyperlink to any of your data, you can simply click onto it and press CTRL K to open up the dialog box. You can have an existing page, a folder, browsed pages, recent files, or even a place in the document for an email address. Now let's just click on this place in the document and we're going to go to R3. So let's click onto that. Press OK. When we click on that, we simply moved to the place where we want. To be able to change any data where we find that the spelling is not correct or we want to change something else about it, we can simply highlight our data and Control H to bring up the Find and Replace dialog box. Let's say that we want to change grey from G-R-E-Y and replace it with the spelling of G-R-A-Y. Let's press. You can replace one, you could replace everything. Let's replace all, and you see that we have 19 replacements done. Let's look now at flash fill. Right here is where we have a data set out. What we want to do is add in some data. So let's type in electronics and see what we want to do is add the color of the item so we can come up. You can also type in green and another comma, and perhaps we want to put curly brackets on the country. So let's just type that in. Now we have a format of how we want to perhaps have our data in one cell and press OK. Now that we can do that, you simply click on and drag the formula. As you do that, you can see that it's literally taken the same as we've typed before. You see the little dialog box at the bottom here, we can click onto that, a little arrow, and it has copy cells, full formatting, or flash fill. We simply click onto that, onto the flash fill, and see what happens. Right now as we open, you can see that it has followed the pattern of what we really wanted to do. Another way to activate it is Control E. Conditional formatting is something that you really need when you want to view your dataset. Now here, let's have a look at the color. And if we want to simply go to highlighting the data, we can go on to highlight data. We can have a text that contains, and let's just go for a text that contains a gray. And in the gray, we can see that it's highlighted. You have different color options. We can change it to green, we can change it to yellow, we can change it to anything that we want. We can also just type in yellow and press OK. So anytime you type in yellow, let's just type it here, comes up right here, yellow, you can see that the format has automatically been changed to our dataset. Let's have a look at data validation and a drop-down list. Now here we have departments, which is a free for all cell, for example, if we ended up typing anything here, it doesn't throw out any dialog box. Now just Control Z to undo that. And what we want to do in this particular column here, we want to add just these type of departments so that there can't be any errors when adding, any mistakes when spelling. So let's just highlight these. You can highlight the whole column if you want. You can just Control Shift down arrow, and that highlights all of the cells. Let's go back to the top, and once we're back at the top, we go across to, with the shortcut Alt A and V, that's data validation. We are going to add to V. Yes, we want to check if we have an extent. Press OK, and what is the source of this? It's a list. The source is going to be just the items over here, and now we're going to press OK. Now what this allows us to do is have a little dialog box so that we can type in anything from the actual range. If we type in, for example, bakery wrong, it will not allow us to enter it into the cells. Very good way to keep your data clean. To easily analyze your data, we can highlight our cells here and go to the shortcut Control Q. That brings up a formatting box like this, and what we do is go across to totals. We can go right, and let's do a percentage total. You can see that you have the percentage total come up there. You could also go to count. You could also go to average, a sum, a running total, or you could even have a running total like this on the side. Let's have a look at dates now. Now, if you have dates such as this, and all of a sudden we have a change in date, so let's just go to dialog box Control 1. We have a date such as this, but perhaps your date was in a different format and you wanted to change it across to from a UK format to a US. All you would simply have to do is click onto that, Alt A E to open up the text to columns. So let's highlight the column, Alt A and E, text to columns, opens up a dialog box. Let's go to next and next again, and here we have a date option. So instead of having a date, month and a year, you can literally change it right here to a month, date and year. Now press finish, and you can see that the date formats have changed into a US date format. Lastly, let's have a look at the Analyze feature in Excel, which is wonderful to help you organize your data. The shortcut here is Alt HFE, and this brings up a dialog box right here to show how you need to analyze your data. So you can simply ask it a question: percentage of total quantity sold, how many different item names are there. You can type in whatever you want. So you can have a look at all of the colors or countries within a pivot table, insert a pivot table. You can insert a pivot chart if you want, and insert any of the item names that you have over here.